Now, the unemployment rate for the second quarter smack on 25%. It is an improvement. There was an expectations for the rate of unemployment to actually increase. Well, with me from Wits University School of Economics and Business Science, economist Lumkile Mondi. Lumkile, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. We've seen the insert. We've seen the figure at 25%. There was an expectation that we would see it go above that 26-odd%, but it has come down to 25%. Generally, you would not think this is good news, but really it's not.
It is not good news at all because, in fact, we're fortunate because we're now looking forward. Because the information in the past, we had some gains from the community services, construction, as well as trade. However, now we've got information because only last week, where we saw the mining sector, as well as the industrial sector, ArcelorMittal, as well as Highveld Steel, announcing that they are about to cut a lot of jobs, as Lonmin and many others in the mining sector doing the same. So the outlook going forward is a very bleak one. And that bleak outlook is not only a short-term one. I think in the long term, we're going to see that figure going closer to 30% because the global economic conditions unfavorable for a sustained economic growth. And moreover, for South Africa, there is no growth strategy that could take this economy out of where it is and towards a long-term sustainable growth story where we could create jobs.
Let's talk about that intervention. I mean, you have the ANC Secretary General not very happy with the companies, mining companies, saying they're not patriotic. They should try and have a different response to what he calls lower commodity prices here. What do you make of his remarks? I mean, lower commodity prices, you're going to have to share jobs here, wouldn't you?
Well, I mean, for me, the statement is very poor in the sense that the ANC government is in power. It has to engage business. It cannot be talking from the sidelines because we're all in this together. So we need a long-term strategy as South Africa being led by government in partnership with the community, with business, as well as labor. And that hasn't happened. And until we develop a long-term strategy, which is embedded very much in the National Development Plan, and no one is developing that. We're talking nuclear. In the National Development Plan, there's nothing talking to nuclear because we all know that nuclear is highly capital intensive. Yeah. We need to look at other sectors. The gas sector, if it's beneficiated, we could create other sectors. We should create more jobs. So there is really no strategy. We're just talking. We need a growth strategy which will encompass all the players. And in that respect, will dent the outlook, which I'm forecasting that if the outlook, America going, interest rate going up, Chinese continues to face problems, our exports are going to continue being trapped. As a result, all sectors will start losing jobs, except government sector, which continues to grow.
Part of this plan, the NDP that you talk about, is the infrastructure drive that's been promised. Visibly, are we seeing this happening on the ground? Because that's the promise of jobs, isn't it?
Well, there's two areas. I mean, the first one is that we need infrastructure investment. However, we know that our resources are limited. That is why I like the prescribed asset approach, where we take about 5% of the savings that are all of yours, companies and others, so that you can be able to invest huge in infrastructure. I think the South African public as well as business is very worried that given the mismanagement that we've seen in sub-departments, particularly public works department, that a prescribed asset pool could also be misused. However, I think there is a way of addressing those concerns. We need prescribed assets, take that 5%, invest in infrastructure across all areas, from social infrastructure to economic infrastructure, which I believe that could create employment and create a very strong base of a lower economic cost economy. And when the global economy rises, we're in a position to exploit those opportunities.
10 seconds from you here. We have sluggish growth. We have low demand from China. We have electricity shortages. Our growth, economic growth, is not expected to be higher than 2% at the end of the year. Just very quickly, what's your take on what growth could look like at the end of the year?
Well, I'm looking at about 1.5% and more job losses. And hopefully, the ANC, together with its partners, they bring business close so that we can develop a long-term partnership for the growth for all.
Lumkile Mondi, thanks very much indeed for coming in.
It's my pleasure.